That way, I will be able to send him this information and he will know what it is that we're trying to do. So, Dr. Thomas, if you can just share the potential of the concentration at your institution. I shared on last week the fact that we do not have the program that we once did with the University of Laverne, where we were all able to offer the full program of religion off campus. And so in order to sort of honor the legacy of what we once did, we've come up with this concentration, which has been approved by the department, sent to our dean, who sent it back to the department and asked if this is really what we want to do. The department meets next week, and so we'll see what happens there. But what's the potential there at Cal State LA?
Well, the potential is wide open. When I initially spoke to the dean, she was actually talking about a full-fledged program, Black Church Studies programs, even separate from Pan-African Studies. Just a full, with the degree in Black Church Studies, and then and even also I was telling her about the MDiv, and she loved the idea. And we had talked about this earlier before we had even met. We talked about this earlier, and so she sees it as an opportunity for the College of Ethnic Studies to grow.
Excellent.
You know, that's the first thing. There's also a certificate program through another, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's a certificate program. Basically, all of our certificate programs go through this office. I can't think of the name of it, but I'm not necessarily opposed to that. But to be quite honest, if it's going through some other office, then it, in a sense, limits the control. I'm thinking, now I know the guy, and I've had a conversation with the guy, and he knows how I think and how I move. I'm not letting someone control what Black folks are doing. And so he's been, in the past, he's been cool with that. But that's kind of where it is. It's wide open.
Okay, well,
it could come under Pan-African Studies, but she seemed to think that it would be a strong standalone.
If I may make a suggestion at this point, since we are designing something that can potentially be used at two multiple locations, why don't we look at designing the 4 courses as a certificate that may be accepted by this body at Cal State? We know it's the 4 courses we're working with at the University of Laverne, and if accepted, can serve as the basis for that Black Studies major, and even the core for whatever a graduate program might be. But if we start with those 4 based on the design that we put forward, we can offer that as the certificate at both locations.
Okay.
And is that cool? And
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And the recommendation is for Pan-African Studies to offer the certificate for the College of Ethnic Studies.
To be determined. I mentioned it at our faculty retreat last week.
Okay.
But yeah. But whatever it would be, I think, as was said, it could start as a concentration and then move into a department.
Yeah. Okay.
And to be quite honest, I think that's what she wants more. I think the dean wants a standalone department. I don't know how long that would take or what that would entail.
I mean, time, man, I'm in this for the long run. We're talking about, we've been here for 50, we got 50 more to go. I'm talking about what's the next 10 years going to look like? I mean, we want to
Right.
build something, and if we build it by putting a certificate and then the body, whatever you want, extension onto
Right.
core courses, I think we'll be in good shape. That also gives us an opportunity to begin promoting it, and letting people know that this is something that is developing, and we can bring students in with that particular mindset. So I think if the 4 courses that we're looking at are a good core for a certificate, we should go ahead and move forward. I put up on the screen here the guidelines that come out of our College of Arts and Sciences, just so that we can have some consistency with regard to the format that we're using and so forth. And I know you all probably have similar guidelines at your institution. So are we at a point where we can begin looking at what the 4 courses will look like, knowing that we're going to offer, going to propose them at different institutions?
I think so.
And so the idea, James, is to actually offer as workshops the 4 courses at our conference in October as an introduction to the certificate, and at the same time, let other institutions know. I mean, here's the other challenge, as it relates to the old program and where we are now at the University of Laverne. In the old program, I served as coordinator. I was able to identify the faculty members, and that was really the role of the Ecumenical Center for Black Church Studies. We helped to recruit students, we identified the faculty, those faculty taught. At this point, there is no coordinator at the University of Laverne, and I'm not sure who will teach the courses. Who will have control over teaching the courses at some place like Cal State? Does it matter? Do we care? I mean, is that a conversation we need to have?
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure that in terms of where that is concerned, it will be, I think, who we would want.
So I just raise this because part of the question is, as you're saying, who's controlling the major, who's selecting the instructors, and so forth, and then so on. I think each institution is going to have to deal with that in its own way. But
Right.
what I have here is a set of guidelines for creating course proposals, which basically walks through the components, the course design, rationale, description, learning objectives, evidence of outcome, and so forth. And I thought that maybe we could use either this or a model that you all may have, come up with our basic framework, and then meet in a couple of weeks and kind of see where we are with our individual courses.
You know, that's a very good starting line.
Yeah.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah. I think we're in agreement. I think we're in agreement. And so Dr. Charles is not on the line, but I can send him basically this conversation and ask that he also follow up in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We'll get together, see where we are, and go from there. I like the shape of this. I know that you all are quality, top notch, and so I think we'll have a program of concentration that anybody should be excited about, to be honest with you. The website Eventbrite, if it's not up yet, will be up this week so that people can actually begin to register. Beautiful.
But yeah, I posted something on the 16th.
Okay.
That was my last.
I'm saying there it is right there.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but what the important thing about Cal State LA and Pan-African Studies, and actually, you know, I recently wrote a chapter in a book that came out just a year ago. It's called Africana Religions in a Transitional Age, Life Under the Baobab Tree. And, you know, the connection with Cal State LA and Pan Studies is good because average, even especially church folk, don't understand that Black church studies emerged out of Black studies. it emerged out of Pan-African studies and Africana studies. And Gayrod Wilmore, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the elder with James Cone.
Mm-hmm.
He says this. Dr. James Evans, may he rest in peace. He just recently passed, right? He was at Crozier, right? They all say this, but it's something that, you know, for some reason, Africana studies, Pan-African studies, and even Black church studies have not even had the dialogue. And so it being at Cal State, having a concentration at Cal State LA is actually, you know, I think a good move. And so I just put that here. You know, what I just said, that I often remind folk that the birth of Black church studies in academia and theological institutions in the United States was the Black studies movement of the late 1960s. And Black church studies heritage is Black studies. It is Pan-African studies, Africana studies, right?
Right.
And so having it at ULV and then also having a concentration at Cal State LA is actually, you know, a very, very appropriate move, and a declaration of the kindred, if you will, kindred intellectual spirit between the disciplines.
Man, y'all getting me excited. This is exciting. We're on to something. It's time. Let's raise our voices. We can do this. Thank you.
And that's, that is, and what I am constantly sharing with my colleagues is that, you know, in the final analysis, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are African traditional religions.
Yeah, we believe that.
You know, and so
they were incubated.
Well, that's why I go back to Melchizedek is my boy. I mean, you know, you know what I'm saying? That's the unification figure that we need to recognize.
They were incubated on they were incubated on the African continent. Right. And so the issue is, especially in Western world, Western civilization, the issue is attempting to understand, practice, and study those traditions independent of any knowledge of Africa whatsoever.
Right.
And that's what the Western civilization has done.
Which is why they have landed in the way that they have, where their religion is not even recognizable in terms of what authentic Christianity is supposed to be.
Yeah. So,
all right. Y'all get too deep for me right now.
That's a good move.
I got an appointment at 1 o'clock. I'm gonna excuse myself if that's all right. I think we're
okay, Dr.
We're moving in a good direction. Thank you. Please
email that the rubric you just shared.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll have the courses ready by October 18th and 19th.
Yeah. I'd like to gather again sometime in September just so we can, you know, share and talk. But yeah, I think we're in good shape. So I'll send this particular video to Charles. If you guys want copies, you'll have this as well. And the the template will come out as soon as I can get to it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, John.
Peace. All right. Take care.
Blessings.
All right. Peace.
Good seeing y'all.
All right. You too.
Have a good day.